This is Eyewitness 12 News.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the late edition of the Weekend Report. I'm Terry Jessup.
And I'm Jodi Baskerville. In our top story tonight, a 2-year-old Newport boy is fighting for his life right now, but only after being revived by the heroic efforts of a Covington police officer. Officer Mike West was off duty earlier this evening, driving down Scott Street in Newport when he saw the car in front of him strike Jimmy Dale Baumgartner. The little boy was lifeless and showing no vital signs when West and a bystander began CPR.
I still continued mouth to mouth on the child, and finally, after it seemed like forever for me, but I guess it probably was no more than a couple of minutes, but the child started breathing a little bit on its own, and then it started crying.
The little boy was rushed to Children's Hospital, where he is listed in critical condition. Police say he apparently walked in front of a car.
And there is perhaps no better example than that rescue in Newport tonight, that seconds can be critical when you're dealing with a life-threatening situation. No one knows that better than the thousands of people who are alive tonight because of the efforts of a very special team of lifesavers. The air care personnel at University Hospital today celebrated 5 years of being the difference between life and death. The off-duty air care staff joined with its former patients to celebrate 5 years of life-saving service. When the airborne emergency team first touched down here in the tri-state, it was part of a pioneer program. Since then, cities all over the country have adopted helicopter hospitals in an effort to save lives.
We can transport a patient about a third of the time it would take to do by ground. The other, and probably more important, difference is the fact that we provide a higher level of medical expertise.
The air care chopper is called out on almost a daily basis, and in cases like this one, doctors and nurses need to operate on the scene. There's no time to wait for the hospital.
We're basically able to take the emergency room out to the victim instead of waiting for the victim to come into the emergency room.
Having that capability saves lives, and sometimes it changes them.
I was hit head-on, and the man who hit me, he died. And they airlifted him too, and they airlifted me from Booth Hospital in Florence, and I survived thanks to them. I'm going to try to be a nurse myself as a result of this, so it's really nice.
When air care first came to the University of Cincinnati, it consisted of only one helicopter with a 1-patient capacity. Now air care's 24-hour-a-day on-call staff is able to airlift as many as 4 patients in their 2 helicopters at any one time.
The Bengals have arrived back in Cincinnati tonight, a few of them limping after a dramatic win over Kansas City. Steve Esposito fills us in now with his first sports. Steve.
Thanks, Jodi. You know, with Turk Schonert and Boomer Esiason both hobbled by ankle injuries, it was the defense to the rescue as the Bengals finally beat the Chiefs in Kansas City. The Bengal D came up with 6 turnovers en route to a 21-17 victory over the Chiefs. And appropriately enough, the winning points were scored by the Bengal defense. Early in the 4th period, Leon White simply takes the ball out of Christian Okoye's hands, and while everyone is standing around, Leon heads the other way as the Bengals go on to beat the Chiefs 21-17.
I just grabbed the ball, fell down, tripped over somebody, and just got up and ran it in from there.
Did you think somebody had touched that you were down at that point? Or?
No, I knew no one had touched me. So.
You heard no whistle or anything?
Nothing, yeah.
We'll have more on the Bengals' victory as well as the Reds' season-ending loss in just a bit. Jodi?
Thanks, Steve. 1 person is dead and 2 others injured after a crash on Warsaw Avenue this evening. Police still have not identified the person who lost their life in this crash. 50-year-old Ruth Smith of Cincinnati has been admitted to St. Francis St. George Hospital, where she's in critical condition tonight. Another passenger, 36-year-old Bob Walksmith, was treated for minor injuries.
A group of black Roman Catholics and their supporters took to Cincinnati's downtown streets in a peaceful protest march today. They said they were frustrated with the church's insensitivity to their needs, and they want a restructuring of the Black Ministries office within the Archdiocese. The protest was triggered by the recent resignation of the Black Ministries director.
There is a whole separate agenda for every segment of the Catholic Church, whether they be black, whether they be Italian, whether they be German. But at this particular time, because of the vacancy in that office, there's a segment of the black Catholic community that is not being addressed. And encompassed in that is the brown Catholic community. You know, there are the Hispanics. Are their needs being met?
Coleman says the Archdiocese should remove control of the Black Ministries office from its Department of Community Services. Friction between those 2 department heads led to the resignation of Joy Smith as Black Ministries director. These protesters say they will attempt to meet with the Archbishop later this week to try to work out their differences.
A cardboard village is sitting in the middle of Xavier University tonight, but the students who put it there are not part of a college prank. The message behind the cardboard, the plastic, and the nails is a very serious one. Students from several area universities and colleges are doing their part to shed some light on the homeless.
If it starts pouring, I'm in trouble.
The candles burning inside these cardboard homes are lighting a path to awareness. The students who built this shanty town earlier today will live here to draw attention to the plight of the homeless. They hope the stares from curious classmates passing by will turn into action.
Our message to them is that there are students who do care about this issue. And I think when people start seeing that there are students who care, they'll start asking themselves, well, do I care? And then maybe, something will happen.
150 students are expected to live here together for the next 3 nights and 4 days. This demonstration was planned by word of mouth, and to organizers, the turnout is a pleasant surprise.
It makes me feel really hopeful. It makes me feel that maybe the 60s will never be back, but maybe a new movement will come out.
For many of these students, the decision to stop talking about and start acting upon a problem that plagues 16,000 people in Greater Cincinnati was long overdue. For Jeff Berding, it's a chance to get involved in a cause he has always believed in.
We need to make people more aware of homelessness. It's such an issue that's easy to disappear from our lives. People who live in the suburbs or even college students, it's not something that we have to see or be a part of every single day. This is our way to do our part to try to get our leaders in Cincinnati as well as across the country to focus on the issue of homelessness.
The problems of the homeless in this country will get national attention on October 7th when there will be a Housing Now march on Washington. Some of the students from Shantytown plan to attend.
Good idea.
Yes, definitely.
And you may have noticed a lot of plastic on those structures, a lot of them because of the drizzle we saw today. Steve Horstmeyer tells us now if we're in for any more anytime soon in his first forecast.
Well, Terry, most of it's moving out of the area. There will be a little bit more drizzle for the next couple of hours, but by tomorrow morning it will be gone. Look what the blanket of cloud cover is doing, keeping those temperatures mild. Dry Ridge 65, 66 in Harrison for the warm spot, Hamilton 62 and Wilmington 60. These temperatures from the WKRC Weather Network. Cloud cover pretty thick over the area. It's beginning to move, though, and it looks like by tomorrow afternoon we will see a little bit of sunshine. It's going to be warmer, too, with that sunshine. So here's the first forecast. The drizzle ends tonight. It'll be cloudy tomorrow morning with a mild temperature of about 62 degrees. Clearing tomorrow, warmer. Tomorrow's high 78. And Terry, coming up in the next weather, look at a big cold air mass heading our way.
All right, thanks, Steve. Turning to international and national headlines now, hundreds of East Germans are gathering around West German embassies in Prague and Warsaw tonight in hopes of moving on to freedom. They hope to join the thousands of East Germans who were allowed to move to the West by train as part of an agreement this weekend. Those refugees had been waiting in Poland and Czechoslovakia for weeks, causing uncontrollable crowds. The group tonight hopes to reach a similar travel arrangement.
While those refugees celebrate their first full night of freedom, the government of China is celebrating its 4th decade of communist rule. Dancers, music, and tight security were all part of the celebration of the 40th anniversary of the communist state in China. Ironically, the celebration took place on Tiananmen Square in Beijing, where the government brutally crushed pro-democracy demonstrations just 4 months ago. Do you know anyone who uses cocaine? You might be surprised at how many people answer yes to that question. In a poll by the Associated Press tonight, almost a third of the adults questioned, that's 31%, say they do know someone who uses cocaine or its byproduct, crack. Half of those say they know a person who they believe is a cocaine addict. The poll also found that 61% of Americans feel drugs, especially cocaine, are the #1 problem in America.
A record-breaking bust that will put a dent in that supply of cocaine in this country now appears to have ties to at least 3 states and Mexico. You may recall 20 tons of cocaine was confiscated last Thursday at a warehouse in Southern California, along with $10 million in cash. Police have now also raided 6 warehouses in El Paso, Texas, and 3 homes in Mexico, which they say are connected to last week's bust. They're not yet saying if they've made any more arrests. 7 people are already behind bars in Los Angeles and Nevada in connection with that raid. Meantime, several thousand people marched this weekend in the capital in Wisconsin for what they say is one of their First Amendment rights. That's the right, they claim, to smoke marijuana. Between 6,000 and 7,000 people who took part in the rally, with 70 arrests, most of them for possession of marijuana. The annual Midwest Marijuana Harvest Festival came just one day after Wisconsin's Governor Tommy Thompson announced his proposal for the legislature to punish teenagers caught with drugs and to toughen the penalties against pushers.
The government is catching widespread criticism tonight because of the red tape involved with getting a relief to the areas hit by Hurricane Hugo. 5 Atlanta doctors say they wanted to take medical supplies to the island of St. Croix, but had to scrub the trip when the Federal Emergency Management Agency couldn't get them a military plane. A Charleston, South Carolina woman says a relief center there told her not to come back for 2 weeks when she tried to apply for help. The government is opening 5 new relief centers in South Carolina in hopes of solving those problems. Imagine sitting in your favorite neighborhood tavern on the weekend when someone who looks kind of familiar pulls up on his motorcycle, orders a beer, and asks the band if they'd like to jam. And what if that someone turns out to be Bruce Springsteen? Well, that's exactly what happened in Prescott, Arizona this weekend, as patrons of Matt's Saloon couldn't believe their eyes. The boss sang a few tunes, posed for a few pictures, and then left. He said he was on vacation and on his way to the Grand Canyon and just felt like stopping by. Anytime, Bruce.
Hope he doesn't sing in the canyon. It'd be quite an echo. Just ahead, believe it or not, a man who made more money last year than Steven Spielberg, Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, and Eddie Murphy combined.
And you've heard of the Battle of Ohio. We'll take you to the Battle of the Tomatoes. Stay tuned.
At the Dolly Madison Bakery, when we make donuts, we start fresh. We make each donut fresh, we pack each donut fresh. And if we delivered them any fresher, we'd have to call our donuts dough.
Dolly Madison, we're always baking something good. That's Dolly Madison.
A clean home is a place you can feel good about, so treat yourself to the world's best whole home cleaning machine, the Power Steamer Deluxe by Bissell. The Power Steamer Deluxe lets you deep clean carpets, upholstery, and even bare floors with professional style water extraction cleaning and now stronger suction than ever before. So feel good about your home. Get your carpets, upholstery, and bare floors really clean. Don't rent. Clean anytime you like with your own whole home cleaning machine, the Bissell Power Steamer Deluxe, $169.99 at Lazarus.
Make the move to your Lincoln Mercury dealer's official factory clearance with 2.9 annual percentage rate financing or up to $1,500 cash back on Cougar LS or Mercury Tracer, $1,000 cash back on Mercury Sable and Topaz, or get $1,000 cash back only on Mercury Grand Marquis. The official factory clearance. Make your move today. See your Lincoln Mercury dealer.
Acupuncture has long been a mysterious treatment among some people for common aches and pains, and now, believe it or not, it is also being used with some success on animals. Pet doctor Kathleen Gentry tells us how some vets are needling pets to make them feel better.
These pets have problems with chronic pain or degenerative disease. At one time, the only solution available to owners was euthanasia, a tragic and permanent end to the suffering. But that was before veterinary acupuncture.
Acupuncture has been used in human medicine for over 5,000 years, and it's been used in cattle and horses for over 3,000 years. But it's only been since the middle of the 1970s that veterinarians have begun using acupuncture in dogs and cats.
A very willing and arthritic dog named Bear has allowed himself to be needled for the past 18 months. Dr. Sheldon Altman practices veterinary acupuncture on Bear to relieve the pain from arthritis and a degenerative condition called hip dysplasia.
A year ago, he was stumbling around and not walking at all, and now he's very active and very happy, and his quality of life is good.
Acupuncture works by stimulating specific body points to send healing messages along meridians or pathways to the immune system. The needles can be further stimulated electrically or by hand. Acupuncture also causes the body to release natural chemicals that make pets feel good, called endorphins, which is why patients, like Bear, actually enjoy treatments. Although Altman is a firm believer in the benefits of acupuncture, he cautions that it can't cure everything.
And a lot of these things are just too far gone for acupuncture to help.
If your pet has unknown pains and you think acupuncture might help, you should call your vet for a referral in this area.
If your parents always wanted you to go to law school, well, here's something that might make you wish you'd followed that advice. Forbes magazine is out with its list of the top 100 highest paid lawyers in the country, and believe it or not, the man who tops it last year earned more than Steven Spielberg, Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, and Eddie Murphy combined. Joseph Dar Jamail listed earnings of at least $450 million in 1988. $420 million of that came from his victory in the settlement of a lawsuit between Texaco and Pennzoil. And there are those who say his salary last year may even have been as high as $600 million.
I knew we were in the wrong line of work.
Yeah.
Steve Horstmeyer tells us about a major change in our weather next.
And Nick Clooney will be along. He has tonight's commentary next.
Whatever happened to Cincinnati television? We'll look for it next.
If you're thinking of dropping a bundle on a new Camry or Accord, this could make your whole day. Now during Hyundai's Full House Clearance, you could make the best deal ever on Sonata, Hyundai's new midsize sedan. Sonata is roomier, more powerful, and is over $2,000 less than either Camry or Accord. Plus, right now, factory-to-dealer incentives could save you even more during the Hyundai Full House Clearance. Stop by your nearest Hyundai dealer today and save a bundle on a new Sonata.
Kings Island and WKRC TV want you to have one more great weekend at the park. So for your last chance to do it all one more time in '89, Kings Island will be open Saturday and Sunday, October 7th and 8th, with a special $5 off the general admission price, courtesy of WKRC TV. Simply bring in a coupon from the October 6th Cincinnati Enquirer, courtesy of WKRC TV, and come out to the park. Enjoy all the rides with spectacular fireworks at closing. That's $5 off general admission on October 7th and 8th at Kings Island. See you there.
1 out of every 4 Americans will suffer from heart disease. 1 out of 4. But you can help reduce your family's risk with a balanced diet of food lower in fat and cholesterol and higher in complex carbohydrates. Food like butternut bread. It's good for your heart because it can help your body defend against heart disease. Serve more bread like butternut because 1 out of 4 is 1 too many.
I wonder if my grandfather ever dreamt that his little optical shop would still be here in Cincinnati 100 years later. Yes, the industry has changed, but here at York, one thing has remained the same: quality at a fair price. Well, at York, we examine your eyes, then we fit you with eyeglasses or contacts, and then we grind the lenses in our own lab. I want you to come to York and share our family tradition.
Take advantage of York's limited time offer. 2 pair of glasses for the price of 1 at any of York's 9 convenient locations.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. We get you more of what you're looking for in the Yellow Pages. The Yellow Pages.
When you see this 4-digit code, you found an ad that talks.
4, we get you more.
Dial a free local call, then enter the 4 digits.
And we're now open every evening till 10.
4, we get you more.
More shopping information.
Yellow Pages from Cincinnati Bell. Yellow Pages from Cincinnati Bell. Yellow Pages from Cincinnati.
Meteorologist Steve Horstmeyer's weathercast has been given the American Meteorological Society's seal of approval for excellence in weathercasting.
Who can keep track of the weather? It's warm, it's cold, it's rainy. I mean, what is this, Steve?
It's weather. It's Cincinnati.
It's just a little bit of everything.
It certainly is, and it looks to me like we're going to see another cold trend coming our way by the end of this coming week.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, well, it's getting to be that time of the year, you know. Every
Yeah.
once in a while, it's going to chill out a little bit.
It's October. We're ready.
That's right. It's going to warm up tomorrow, then cool off for the end of the week. It's a nice day today, though. Even though it was a little bit on the dreary side and humid side, a lot of people got out to the Taste of Hyde Park in conjunction with the art show out there today, and you see a lot of stuff going on, a lot of food to eat, of course. That's one of the favorite things to do around Cincinnati. As a matter of fact, there's also a big band, and maybe we can hear some of that big band music if we listen closely. It's a nice day. You notice they had a tent out there just in case the drizzle got a little bit too heavy. It did come down for quite a few hours, but it didn't give us much rainfall. Here's what today was like. 68 degrees the high, 62 this morning's low, 88 the record high for the state, 34 the record low. Rainfall only 1/100th of an inch, and the record rainfall on this day, 2 and almost a half an inch in 1973. Well, right now, skies cloudy. Still a little bit of drizzle in some spots, but not a great deal of drizzle. Temperature 67 degrees, just 1 down from the high today. Humidity very high at 93%. The humidity level in the atmosphere is going to drop off a bit as the night goes on. Things will tend to dry out. 65 the dew point, winds out of the southeast at 8, and the barometric pressure is 29.86 inches, and that's falling. Here's a weather map. The pressure is falling because low pressure is getting nearer to us. It's not going to come right into Cincinnati. It's going to be pushing off to the northeast pretty quickly because this frontal system is going to come in and kind of kick it out of the way. That's what we call a kicker in meteorology, and it just kind of pushes the one ahead of it out of the way. That will allow us to clear out a little bit, but this next front coming in could also bring a little bit of rainfall. Here's where it is right now, moving into eastern Nebraska. By tomorrow at about noontime, it's moving into western Illinois. We'll start to spread some shower activity into the western part of Indiana. And then by Tuesday, in the middle of the day, it will move across the Appalachian Mountains and allow the cooler air to move back our way. How cool is that air? Well, look at highs on Tuesday. 30s for high temperatures with sunshine up in northern Minnesota. On Tuesday, we'll be in the low 70s. Then we'll drop off into the 60s. Most of the cool air will stay in the Great Lakes to the north of us. Overnight tonight, it looks like this then. Cloudy. There'll be some fog. It'll be mild. Tonight's low, 62 degrees. Tomorrow, we should clear out a bit. It'll be partly cloudy with some afternoon shower activity, the high 78. Extended outlook looks like this. 78 is the highest will be next week. 73 on Tuesday, in the 60s Wednesday and Thursday. Friday should be 70, and it looks like the rain may return by Friday. With basically some chilly, pleasant weather coming all right. Not real cold, not real warm, just kind of typical October weather.
Sounds good to me. Okay.
Oh, you're very easy to please.
I am. It's almost the weekend.
Thanks,
Harry?
Steve. Television, something most of us take for granted probably by now, and since its inception more than almost 5 decades ago, it's undergone a lot of changes, especially right here in Cincinnati. But how many of those changes are for the best? That's the focus tonight of Nick Clooney's commentary.
What in the world has happened to Cincinnati television? All of a sudden, we look just like everybody else. Someone who comes into town and snaps on a TV set could just as well be in St. Louis or Kansas City or Pittsburgh. Oh, a couple of years ago, there would not be one shred of doubt when you turned on a TV set that you were in Cincinnati, Ohio. You might hate it or you might love it, but you knew exactly where you were. There was Ruth Lyons, there was Paul Dixon, there was Bob Braun and Bob Shreve, Willie Thal, Len Gurion, Uncle Al, Captain Wendy, Skipper Ryle, Vivian Della Chiesa. We had bands and singers and talk programs. We had an infinite variety of variety shows. And now, they are gone with the wind. Was it something we said or didn't say? Now all we get is Hollywood's idea of what Cincinnati ought to be watching, and I'm not sure it's an improvement. Is Geraldo Rivera taking himself seriously more interesting than Paul Dixon never taking himself seriously? I don't think so. Now all we have left of local programming and local flavor on television is the newscasts on 12, 5, and 9. They do their best, but they aren't here for entertainment, nor should they be. To their credit, stations have tried local shows, but we won't watch them. Well, we get the TV we deserve, I suppose. If we only support the same pap those other towns settle for, I guess it's our own fault. I must say, I miss the time just a few years ago when our television was just as unique as our Fountain Square. Don't you? I'm Nick Clooney.
Here you go, Krista. You know, I can remember coming down here with my grandfather when I was a kid. He would touch every piece of fruit before he'd buy anything. Yeah, sort of like that. You know, I've got some great memories growing up here in Cincinnati, and maybe that's why I'm willing to work just a little harder to bring your family news you can rely on. We live in the perfect place to raise a family. This community is important to me, because I've got a family to raise, too.
Cincinnati families can rely on Eyewitness 12 News.
Keeping my family healthy is a big job, so I ask a lot from a plan like Choice Care, and it's great. I choose the doctor, and it really doesn't cost much. And if you've got a child like mine, well, Choice Care can really save you a lot. My other plan, oh, it was such a hassle. It drove me crazy. I just don't run into any red tape with Choice Care.
Hi folks, I'm Sonny from Starlink and Mercury on Coleraine, and during our gigantic Let's Make a Deal days, we are reducing our huge new and used car inventory with deals like this. This brand new Mark 7 for only $477 down, $477 a month, or this brand new Mercury Topaz for $179 down and $179 a month. So what do? You stop in the Star Lincoln Mercury today. We're open 7 days a week, and let's make a deal where our attitude makes the difference.
Star Lincoln Mercury.
We could have been satisfied being the home of the chimichanga. After all, a chimichanga is the Chi-Chi's celebration, all wrapped up in a tortilla. But hearing you say wow wasn't enough, so we created the Cowabunga Chimichanga Special. It's our famous chimichanga plus cheese, nachos, and sopapillas, all for $6.95. Wow, you say? No, Cowabunga.
Ever wonder what a financial genius looks like? Someone who can get his hands on thousands of dollars at a moment's notice? Somebody who uses the new tax laws to his best advantage? Somebody who can even borrow money to consolidate all of his debts and make one affordable monthly payment? Wonder what a financial genius looks like? Hey, you're looking at him. Hunter Savings Home Equity Resource. If you own a home, it can make you look pretty smart too.
If you saw the game today, you know that the Bengals got beaten up quite a bit, but they managed to pull it off.
That's right. This was a great team victory. As you mentioned, a lot of injuries, and I think Boomer really proved that he is not just a leader, but an inspirational leader when he came off the bench to rally this team. Well, folks, what do you think? Did the Bengals beat the Chiefs today, or did Kansas City give it away? Then again, does it really matter? The bottom line is the Bengals played a real gutsy football game, and they leave Arrowhead Stadium at 3-1, not 2-2. But boy, what an ominous start as Turk Schonert sprains his left ankle on the second play of the game, and with that, Turk's first start in 3 years is over. Enter the Bengals' other hobbled QB, a guy by the name of Esiason, who hooks up with a guy by the name of McGee for 40 yards as the Bengals cut the Chiefs' lead to 10-7 in the second period. Late in the first half, then, rookie Eric Ball takes it in from the 2 as the Bengals pulled to within 3 at the half, 17-14 your score. But again, here's the play that proves to be the game winner. Watch Leon White, number 51, just take the ball out of Christian Okoye's hands. Nobody really knows what's going on here except Leon White, who gets up and takes it in, and that puts the Bengals in front for good, 21-17. That was just one of 6 Kansas City turnovers. David Fulcher had 2 interceptions and a fumble recovery as the opportunistic Bengals survived the Chiefs and the Arrowhead Stadium.